Heyo, Cardinal fans! Welcome to the newest Cardinal Conversation podcast, bringing you all the ins and outs of Otterbein athletics. Now, here is your host for today, Sports Information Director Adam Prescott.
Hello, and welcome back to our Cardinal Conversation podcast. I am SID Adam Prescott, coming to you once again from the top of the Memorial Stadium press box. Season 1, Episode 5 here today with fourth-year head cross-country and track and field coach Dara Ford alongside her junior standout Heather Sandvik. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello. Hi.
Come on, give me some. I need a little more attitude here. I'm up here, and you guys are still on level 1 or 2. S1E5, in case we ever make it to iTunes or Netflix. That's how you'll find us. Season 1, Episode 5. Dara, of course, leading the team to a third straight OAC championship, cross-country championship last weekend. You're ranked 15th in the latest national poll. Congrats on the continued success. Kind of the best time of the year right now.
Yeah, it's definitely the time of the year where we're looking forward to every single practice and every single meet. So it's been a fun year for sure.
Yeah. Sitting to her left is junior Heather Sandvik, a two-time first-team all-conference performer. Heather finished 4th out of 120 runners last weekend, crossing the tape in 22:26. Heather, winning a title, I guess, never gets old. Describe the excitement and the emotions around your team, just specifically from this past weekend.
Yeah, well, so at this point, we are kind of the team to beat in the conference. So I think we put more pressure on the conference meet than we do really any other thing. So it's always kind of just a sigh of relief when we win the conference again.
Kind of back up the ranking or whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, we've won 3 straight conference titles in cross country. You've only been a part of 2, though. I'm not sure everyone knows that you actually transferred in midway through your freshman year, kind of into wintertime. I guess let's go back about a year and a half, or take us through that transition, what it was like trying to transfer in mid-school year, kind of fit in and adapt with the new team, and obviously you've had a lot of success since.
Yeah, so starting out my freshman year, I started at Miami University. And I was
Florida, right?
Miami of Ohio.
Okay, Oxford. All right.
Unfortunately.
Just want to clarify.
So I started off, I just did a cross-country season there. It just wasn't necessarily what I was looking for in a program. And so I kind of knew a couple people that went here from my high school. And so I kind of pulled the trigger on that pretty quick and ended up here. And I met with Coach Ford and kind of just hit the ground running for indoor track season, which is a lot.
Hit the ground running,
Started school that weekend. We had a meet.
Yeah.
But I think the transition was really well. I think I clicked really well with the whole team, and it's been good ever since.
Go from there. Dara, every season, every team is probably different in some way. What's made this season, when you think about it collectively so far, different from the last few?
This is a group that has higher expectations than just the conference championships. We have a more seasoned crew out there with the juniors. It's really weird to only have one senior. And Allie actually transferred in, so also not a person that's been with the program for 4 years. So it's a year where we knew that we would be pretty good at the conference championship, so we kind of trained through the meet a little bit. That's definitely a different situation to be in. It's a confident group, and that's always a fun group to be around.
Yeah,
and
I was going to ask about an identity, or maybe how would you know?
Yeah, they're confident, and they definitely have a swag to them. It's been the top 7 has been the same 7 for the last 2 weeks in a row. Not in the same spots on the team, but the same top 7, and that's something that we haven't had for the last couple years coming into the conference meet and then beyond. So I think these women are just starting to gel together. I still didn't expect any freshmen to be in there, and yet we have 2 that are in the top 7, and three juniors and 2 sophomores. Yeah. So it's neat to have all those different classes represented, and they're still growing into their potential.
Yeah.
I think our best race is still ahead of us, and Claire looked really good this past week. Heather had probably one of her least memorable races of the year. But it's pretty good when you have a bad day and you get fourth.
Finish fourth, yeah.
Yeah. So we went out and got the job done, and we're gonna run a better race in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Heather, Coach Ford mentioned Claire Lamb. Obviously, has headlined your team for a few years now. One of the top runners in the country. You guys kind of have like I'd say a 1-2 punch. I don't know, you could say rivalry. You could say you're pushing talk about pushing each other and the camaraderie that you two specifically have with each other.
Well, it's definitely a friendly rivalry. Off the field, we're best friends. I guess on the course too. I think what's been really great about this year is I've finally gotten to the point where I can be pushing her in workouts, and we can kind of work together in a race. I'm still working on not getting dropped there at the end of the race, but it's getting better each week. So it's been really good. Having her.
Talk to me about, I guess, like maybe, I don't know, say internal fortitude of the sport of competitive running that maybe not everyone can identify with, or other athletes. A lot of athletes obviously run for conditioning for their sport, but maybe not run competitively. People play basketball when they're growing up, or can go out and play soccer, but don't really know what it's like to run competitively. I guess just talk about, I guess, from a mental aspect, from an internal aspect, what all those dimensions consist of.
Well, it's not necessarily like a game, I suppose. So we see all these other sports playing, and it's like, oh, they must be having fun. They're just throwing a ball around or something, and we're running laps. So it's a different kind of fun, but it's going on runs every day and just getting to talk to your teammates and being around them. And I think that's where the fun part of it comes in.
Yeah.
And then just being in really good shape too, I think is something different with running.
Yeah, say Dara, you could jump in, whatever. Obviously, you're a former college runner yourself.
Yeah.
Just how a race unfolds, that people just see you start and see you finish, but don't really, maybe know all that goes into prepping for a race and kind of the internal battles you kind of fight doing the sport.
You can't fake anything.
Yeah.
It's one of those sports where you can't rely on anybody else. You are your own person out there, and the decisions that you make outside of practice and all of that kind of stuff can definitely catch up with you. You can't hide behind anything. But when it comes to being out there, it's just a battle versus yourself more than any of the runners around you. And it's always fun when you race people and you beat people, and we're definitely a competitive bunch. It's one where the fun that we have comes a lot from winning and from just beating people in general.
Yes, winning solves a lot, right?
It does. It does. It definitely does. But it's just it's one of those things where everybody else sees running as not a very fun thing to do. But when you get to the fitness level that these guys and girls are at, 5 days a week, they're just joking around with their friends. And, it's the same as us sitting here having a conversation. They have those same conversations on runs. So it's social hour 5 days a week and business the other two.
Yeah. Heather, talk about the relationship, with your women's team and the men's team. Obviously, you're competing. You're separate programs, but you do almost everything together. I know there's a lot of support that goes back and forth. Just talk about the camaraderie with those guys.
Yeah, it's really fun. We see each other. We don't do our runs together, but we'll do workouts at the same time, and so it's always good. We alternate cheering for each other, and during races this season, the men have been competing first, so we try and warm up and cheer for them when we can, and then it's really nice when we run our race and we get to that particularly tricky part, and they're out there always cheering. So it's good. It's good to have them around, and they kind of bring a different vibe too than just the girls team would.
For sure. I guess Dara, you mentioned that Heather maybe didn't have her best race, or maybe at least one of least memorable. I guess feel free to embarrass yourselves as much or as little as you want. But what's the greatest piece of maybe turmoil or frustration that you guys have had to go through in a race? I don't know if you puked. I don't know if. What's the worst thing that's happened to either of you guys in a race?
Okay, I have a great story. It actually involves an Otterbein alum, Megan Randolph.
Okay.
Hey, Megan. But she's a great supporter of the program now. My senior year, we're on the track running the 5K. She might tell you a different story, I guess, but this is the way that I remember it. And we were on the second to last lap, and she tried to pass me on the inside, and you're not going to do that on me with 600 to go. So I shoved her into the infield, and it was right in front of the official, and he's like, ladies. And we had a good laugh afterwards, a couple years afterwards.
Didn't get DQ'd or anything.
Didn't get DQ'd, but, running is a non-contact sport, but there's a lot of contact that happens when no one is around, especially in cross country.
Yeah. Heather, what about you? Most embarrassing thing to happen to you during a race?
I don't know if
you're willing to admit.
I don't know if
on
I've
air.
had too many. I've never thrown up or anything. Claire, on the other hand, embarrasses herself. Not necessarily embarrasses herself. She does things like throw up sometimes in the middle of a race, and a lot of times I'll be next to her witnessing things unfolding. So I've seen a lot. Claire also will talk to or say things under her breath, I guess, that I'll pick up during a race and not necessarily the other competitors. So that's always fun.
Just talking to herself, huh? Or...
Yeah. Or, some girl will cut us off and she'll give me a look.
All right. I like it. That's head coach Dara Ford and junior Heather Sandvik here on part 1 of our podcast episode. Time to step away for a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
As the official sports medicine provider of Otterbein Athletics, Ohio Health is proud to keep the Cardinals healthy and in the game. Ohio Health is available 24/7 to care for your athletes. Just call 614-566-GAME to schedule a same-day appointment. Ohio Health. Believe in we. From the Sports Information Desk, this is your Cardinal Sports Update. We lead off with women's cross country, having captured its 3rd straight OSC championship last weekend, besting second-place John Carroll by 17 points, led by junior Claire Lamb, who claimed her 2nd straight individual title in the race by over 30 seconds past the second-place finisher. Both cross-country teams now turn their attention to the Great Lakes Regional Meet November 11th in Powell. Men's soccer also tallied an undefeated season in OAC play after defeating Mount Union 1-0 on the roads last Saturday night, having secured the outright regular season title last week with a win at Marietta. Top-seeded Cards are now ranked 19th nationally and will host 5th-seeded Marietta tonight in the OAC tournament semifinals at 7 p.m. On the court, volleyball grabbed a share of its first OAC regular season championship last Saturday with a 3-set win over Mount Union and earned the top seed in the OAC tournament, resulting in a swift first-round victory over 8th-seeded John Carroll. Cards host 5th-seeded Heidelberg tonight in the OAC semis at 7 p.m., Student Princes being the only team to defeat Otterbein in OAC play this year. Women's soccer saw its season come to an end Wednesday night, playing to a 1-1 draw in Ada after 2 overtimes at top-seed and number 13-ranked Ohio Northern before falling 3-2 in the shootout. Sophomore Annie Mosca helped the Cards grab their first lead of the game in the 46th minute before ONU responded with a goal of its own a little over 9 minutes later. Otterbein finishes the season 13-4-2 overall after earning the 4 seed in the conference tournament. Wrestling opens its season at the Ithaca Invite in Providence, Rhode Island Friday and Saturday. Football senior day scheduled against John Carroll Saturday afternoon inside Memorial Stadium. Kickoff set for 1:30 p.m. Potential championship matches could also be played on campus this Saturday should volleyball and men's soccer win tonight. That's your Cardinal Sports Update. For all the latest news and notes, follow us on OtterBeinCardinals.com and on social media at Otterbein Sports.
Hey Cardinal fans, I'm women's track and field junior Sarah Bedell. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Cardinal Conversation podcast. Our second half segment is coming right up.
And welcome back to part 2 of our season 1, episode 5 Cardinal Conversation podcast, hanging out here in the Memorial Stadium press box alongside head cross country coach Dara Ford and junior Heather Sandvik. First segment, not too bad. Got any jitters out?
Yeah.
Heather's just been stone-faced up here for 12 minutes, so I'm trying
Heather.
I'm trying to figure out if she's having fun or if she's nervous or if she's just tired. Gonna move on to a little more of a laid-back part of our segment here. We've kind of taken the second half of these podcasts to kind of just have some fun and laugh a little bit, and we've done a couple top 10 lists on the podcast with previous guests and whatnot. So my student worker Sarah Bedell, who you guys obviously know very well as a part of your program, we're talking recently about the nicest people at Otterbein. And let's not get mistaken here. There's a lot of nice people, but these people I'm talking about are like almost too nice sometimes, and that they make you feel like, man, you really need to improve your life, because these people are so nice that it's on another level. So I have I have a top 10 list with a few honorable mentions, and then I want you guys to weigh in after that.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah, so a couple honorable mentions. So Lindsey Jones actually runs in your program.
Yeah.
Never had a bad talk with her. She's been fantastic. Ryan Karapis is a men's basketball player and a golfer. I think he might rap on the side, but he's never been anything but nice to me and anyone else I've ever seen him have a talk with. And Colin Hoffman, who he's a sophomore now, he's our men's goalie on the soccer team and also a relief pitcher. He might just be more nice by virtue of being so quiet. I just feel like he's so innocent, and he's been missing a couple teeth lately here in the fall that got knocked out, and just has seemed to take everything just so nice. Not mad at anyone for knocking out his teeth. But I want to start my top 10 list. So those were a few honorable mentions that barely missed the cut. Number 10 is Joe Sanfilippo, men's lacrosse player, football punter. Just really handles himself with class, academic all-district kid. And Heather, you're going to have to jump in here. I don't know. I know that you only know track and cross-country kids.
Yeah, that's the rumor.
Yeah, so so I don't even know if these names are going to mean anything to you. Number 9, Delaney Cutteridge, plays women's basketball. I actually saw her in front of the campus center a couple weeks ago helping out a girl on crutches. Didn't even know anyone was watching, but I happened to be driving by, so she makes the list. Number 8, softball player Maddie Flasco, academic All-American. Never said a mean thing to anyone. Number 7, Dasha Briaco, volleyball player. Has a sister with Down syndrome that she takes care of. Is on a full music scholarship here. Just an incredibly nice kid. 6 is Mitch Stotler, second baseman for our baseball team. 5 is Hogan Marshall, football player, athletic trainer. Just wrote a heck of a blog.
I had Hogan on my list.
You have Hogan, yeah. I think he's a surefire top 10 candidate here on the nicest people on campus. Just wrote a great blog about what it means to play a college sport, even if you're not actually getting a lot of playing time. I suggest everyone take a few minutes to read that. It's well worth it. 4, Ashlyn Leon, our volleyball libero. Just seems like a perfect little angel. Never done anything wrong. Gets good grades. Number 3, and I know you guys are going to agree with this one, Jacob Thompson.
Jacob
Thompson always goes out of his way to say hi to me. I don't think he's ever... Some of you guys in cross country like to give me crap for things that I do in the sports information office, or not getting one of your times wrong by a tenth of a second on Twitter. And I think I could get Jacob Thompson's time wrong by 8 minutes, and he would compliment me on...
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Adam, you didn't mean it, so it's okay.
That's yeah, absolutely. So Jacob's number 3, bronze medalist. Number 2, Cameron Arminio, men's basketball player.
Yeah.
Not sure if you guys know Cam. Had a tough freshman season where he just sit out the whole year with surgery, and has come back, handled that with ease, and is just a joy of a kid to talk to. Number 1, softball player Allison Shaw. Doesn't try to on purpose, but makes me feel worse about myself, because it just makes me seem like I'm a grump, and I don't think I'm a grump. But when I'm around her, I feel like if there's no way I could ever get to that niceness. So Allison Shaw, at least in my mind, takes the cake as the nicest student athlete on campus. I'm going to let you guys kind of jump in here and kind of supplement the list however you see fit.
You go first.
Well, the only names I came up with kids on the track team, for the most part. Jacob Thompson, definitely at the top of the list.
Yep.
I think I've known this kid for almost 2 years, and I don't think he's ever had a bad day.
Yeah.
We have Emma Kimberly.
Okay.
She's a sophomore track athlete.
All right. I don't think I've gotten a chance to talk with her much, but...
Super sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, she just smiles at you all the time.
Yeah.
Just one of those. I also add Ann Tong from the cafeteria.
Yes.
If she knows your name, you're probably friends on Facebook, and she's going to make sure that you have enough cookies and brownies and all that good stuff, and is always good for a hug, no matter what.
Yeah.
We also have Nate Forney,
okay,
sophomore on the track team, also a track team favorite.
All right.
Just great all-around kid. Always, he just has such a great attitude.
At the end of the OAC championship, for outdoor track, we always let the athletes speak if they choose to. And Forney stood up and said a couple words, and no one cried until Forney started talking, and then the tears just started coming, because he just talked about how the team was so special to him and all that kind of stuff. And he's just a kid that you would bend over backwards for.
Has a natural effect on people, it seems
does.
like. Yeah.
Even though he's a pretty quiet kid. He's one of those silent, hard workers.
Yeah.
We also have Dawn Stewart.
Oh, yeah, throwing that one in there. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we're taking care of every nice person.
Yeah.
On
She
campus.
was at our conference championship Saturday.
She did freeze her butt off
Yeah.
to watch the
All the way
cross
in
country
Tiffin.
team.
Yeah.
So.
Hashtag proud AD.
Yeah.
That's her favorite thing to tweet.
That's right.
Yes. I think we got to throw Diane Ross in there from our office. She might take the cake here. I mean, all these other people, I could probably just throw the list out on the ground. Diane Ross is probably the nicest person, not even on Otterbein's campus, maybe that I've met in my entire life. I know you work with her quite a bit, Dara, but
yeah, she always has a smile. She just makes you feel warm.
Yeah.
That's all. And she's just
even when she's dealing with Coach Powell's finance sheet and has to organize that Excel spreadsheet, she still maintains a smile. I forgot to put Brian Piro on there. Brian Piro, now I guess not a student athlete anymore. He's was a 3-year student coach for our baseball program, and now he's a GA and received the Cardinal Spotlight Award. And there's another kid that rarely has a bad day. Except when his roommates mess up his color-coded dresser drawer. He doesn't like that too much. So I think that's it. I think we gave again. There's a lot of nice people on campus, but these are the nicest the genuinely most nicest people. Anyone else before we move on? Anyone else you want to get brownie points with?
no.
I think that's it.
Mm-mm.
Definitely not Claire, right?
Definitely not.
Definitely not Claire. Here on the latest Cardinal Conversation podcast with head cross country coach Dara Ford and junior Heather Sandvik. Just a reminder that today's podcast is brought to you by a handful of our corporate partners, Roush Honda, Ohio Health, Jets Pizza, MSA Sport, and Education First Credit Union. Dara, not even just you guys, but the success of the entire department right now, specifically with the fall teams, has just been on another level this year, probably the best I've ever seen in my decade here. Just talk about the camaraderie of the whole department and what it's like getting out and watching other teams when we're all doing well.
Yeah, it's funny because the 3 OAC champions right now all have their offices next to each other. So
oh yeah, it's a good point.
We are the Hall of Champions up there. But
Victory Lane.
Yeah. It's been really neat to see both men's soccer and women's volleyball weren't the favorites coming into the season or anything like that, and have just kind of come together. And I think all the fall sports feed off of each other. Mm-hmm. Even football had a great start to the year, and I think to start the year, women's cross country was the only one that had lost there for a while.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny. But yeah, we as coaches all really enjoy each other, and all the coaches are super supportive of one another and pop in and say hi, and it's always fun to go to different games and matches around, and you see coaches kind of scattered all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something special that we have here at Otterbein, and it's something that just makes us all better.
Yeah. Heather, what's it like for you kind of getting out watching some of your peers? I know that we always joke that you don't really know anyone else besides cross-country runners, but I know that you're obviously very familiar with what else is going on.
Yeah, I'm still very much paying attention, and I think there's kind of just this energy and buzz on campus right now. Mm-hmm. After meets on the bus rides home, we're always checking Twitter and stuff, seeing how the other teams are doing, and it's just really exciting and good to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. You said volleyball and men's soccer kind of both picked in the middle of the pack to start the year and win regular season titles. Men's basketball team in 2002 was picked to finish 6th in the OAC and won the whole thing. Not the conference, the whole thing, national championship. Kind of looking ahead, forecasting your guys' regionals coming up here next weekend. Over at nearby, or Ohio Wesleyan is going to serve as the host, a course that you guys have run on already. Expectations this time around going in? I know that you guys fell a little short of qualifying for NCAA's last year, and there's a lot on your mind to kind of redeem yourselves. Right.
Last year it was just kind of sickness that attacked us at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. I think we had the team and we had the personnel and we had the drive and the desire last year. I think we just got sick on the wrong week. This year, it's a completely different year. We're currently ranked 2nd in the region, but it's going to be a dogfight between the top 4, 5, 6 teams in the region. We've already seen everybody that we're going to compete against, except for Allegheny. Allegheny's the only team we haven't run against. We've beat Oberlin. Oberlin's beat us. We only saw Hope once, and Hope beat us, but that was only the second meet of the season, and everybody was still trying to figure things out. So expectations are definitely high. Top 2 make it to nationals automatically, and then there's 16 at-large throughout the rest of the nation. Last year, our region only got out 3 teams. We probably deserve 4 this year, but we're gonna have to get the job
just
done.
Never know, yeah.
And I would love to walk away from that meet in the top 2 and not have to worry about waiting until Sunday night.
Heather, obviously it's a different course, probably going to be under somewhat different conditions. But what do you feel like you learned last year? It's going to help you this year.
Well, last year was not my finest race at regionals.
Yeah.
But I think this year I have a lot more confidence just with this specific team. It also helps that it's going to be close by. We'll have hopefully a lot of people out there cheering for us. But the bottom line is, when we get out there, the rankings don't really mean anything. So it's just who's running the best on that day.
Lace them up and go, right?
Yeah.
Lace them up and go. All right, well, thank you to both of you for joining us today. Really appreciate you guys taking a few minutes out of a busy schedule. Best of luck going forward, and we'll talk with you guys again soon here.
Thanks.
That was head coach Dara Ford and junior Heather Sandvik joining us here on Season 1, Episode 5 of the Cardinal Conversation podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Just a reminder that you can catch all podcast shows on Twitter at Otterbein Sports or Otterbein Athletics YouTube channel. Catch you next time.